Far-right movements are on the rise across Europe. These groups are deeply concerning. They promote extreme nationalism and often harbor prejudices against minorities. They exploit people's fears and anxieties. Their ultimate goal is to gain political power. We need to understand these movements to counter them effectively. Far-right ideology is complex and varies between different groups. However, some common threads exist. These include a strong emphasis on national identity, often defined in exclusionary terms. They reject multiculturalism and immigration. They view globalization and international cooperation with suspicion. They often promote traditional social values and express hostility towards liberalism and progressive ideas. These movements are not a fringe element anymore. They have gained significant ground in recent years. They are now a powerful force in European politics. They have achieved electoral success in many countries. They influence policy debates. Their rhetoric shapes public discourse. Understanding the far right is crucial in today's political landscape. Their ideas, though often divisive and harmful, resonate with a growing segment of the population. This rise has profound implications for democracy, human rights, and the future of Europe. We must be informed and engaged to challenge their narratives and promote a more inclusive and tolerant society. Far-right movements are not new to Europe. They have been a part of the continent's political landscape for over a century, influencing and shaping events in ways that are both overt and insidious. They have a long and troubled history, marked by periods of intense activity and violent upheaval. From the early 20th century, these movements have left an indelible mark on European history. Understanding this history is crucial to grasping the current situation. By studying the past, we can identify the roots of these movements and the conditions that allow them to thrive. It helps us see the patterns and avoid repeating past mistakes. Recognizing the signs of rising extremism can empower societies to take proactive measures to counteract these dangerous ideologies. In the 20th century, Europe witnessed the horrors of fascism and Nazism. These ideologies, rooted in extreme nationalism and xenophobia, led to some of the darkest chapters in human history. These extreme right-wing ideologies led to war, genocide, and widespread suffering. The Holocaust in particular stands as a grim reminder of the catastrophic consequences of unchecked hatred and bigotry. After World War II, far-right groups were largely marginalized. The devastation of the war and the revelations of the Holocaust discredited these movements, pushing them to the fringes of society. However, they never entirely disappeared. Even in the post-war era, far-right ideologies persisted, finding new ways to adapt and survive. They lurked in the shadows, waiting for an opportunity to re-emerge. These groups often operated in secrecy, biding their time and waiting for moments of societal vulnerability. Recent decades have seen a resurgence of far-right movements across Europe. This resurgence is not a sudden phenomenon but rather the result of long-standing grievances and evolving political landscapes. This resurgence is fueled by a complex interplay of factors. These include economic anxieties, fears about immigration, and a perceived loss of national identity. The rapid pace of globalization and cultural changes has left many feeling alienated and disconnected, and a perceived loss of national identity. These fears are often exploited by far-right leaders who promise a return to a glorified past and a restoration of national pride. The global financial crisis of 2008 played a significant role. The economic downturn led to widespread unemployment, austerity measures, and a loss of faith in traditional political institutions. It led to economic hardship and uncertainty. Many people, struggling to make ends meet, became disillusioned with the status quo and more receptive to radical solutions. This made people more susceptible to the far-right's populist rhetoric. Far-right leaders capitalized on this discontent, offering simple answers to complex problems and scapegoating minorities and immigrants. The resurgence of the far right is a worrying trend. It poses a significant threat to the social fabric of Europe, undermining the principles of inclusivity and diversity. It threatens the values of tolerance, democracy, and human rights that Europe has worked so hard to build since World War II. The European Union in particular stands as a testament to the continent's commitment to peace and cooperation. It is a stark reminder that the fight against extremism is never truly over. Vigilance and proactive measures are essential to safeguarding democratic values and ensuring that history does not repeat itself. It requires constant vigilance and a commitment to upholding democratic values. By fostering dialogue, education, and understanding, we can build a more resilient society capable of resisting the allure of extremism. Far-right movements thrive on fear and uncertainty. They exploit people's insecurities to gain widespread support. They present themselves as protectors of the people against perceived threats and dangers. These threats are often exaggerated or completely fabricated to incite fear. One of the most common tactics is scapegoating and blame shifting. This involves blaming a particular group for society's complex problems. Immigrants are often the primary target. They are accused of stealing jobs, straining social services and resources, and threatening the national culture and identity. Muslims are frequently singled out as a threat to European values and security. Another tactic is to evoke a sense of nostalgia for a mythical past. The far right often romanticizes a time when society was supposedly more homogeneous and orderly. They promise to restore national pride and traditional values. This message resonates with people who feel left behind by globalization and rapid social change. The politics of fear is effective and pervasive. It allows the far right to tap into deep-seated anxieties and resentments. By presenting themselves as the solution, they can rally support and advance their agenda. However, their solutions are often simplistic, divisive, and harmful. They offer scapegoats, not real answers to complex issues. Understanding their tactics is the first step in countering their influence effectively. Section 4. Immigration, a central theme in far-right rhetoric. Immigration is a central theme in far-right rhetoric. It is often used as a rallying cry to unite supporters and galvanize political movements. They present it as a threat to national identity, security, and economic well-being. This portrayal is designed to evoke strong emotional responses from the public. This narrative resonates with some who feel anxious about cultural change and economic competition. These individuals may feel that their way of life is under threat. However, the far-right's portrayal of immigration is often distorted and misleading. They frequently rely on myths and misinformation to support their arguments. They often portray immigration as an invasion. This language is intended to create a sense of urgency and danger. They use inflammatory language describing migrants as floods or hordes. Such terms dehumanize immigrants and paint them as a faceless mass. This rhetoric creates a sense of fear and urgency. It encourages people to see immigrants as a threat that must be dealt with immediately. It suggests that the nation is under attack and needs to be defended. This defensive stance can lead to increased hostility and division within society. Far-right groups often link immigration to crime and terrorism. They use isolated incidents to paint a picture of widespread danger. They highlight isolated incidents involving immigrants to create a perception of widespread danger. This selective reporting ignores the broader context and the many positive contributions of immigrants. This ignores the fact that immigrants are statistically less likely to commit crimes than native-born citizens. Studies have shown that immigrants contribute positively to society in many ways. The reality of migration is often far different from the far-right's portrayal. Many migrants are fleeing violence, persecution, or economic hardship. Many migrants are families seeking a better life. They are looking for safety, stability, and opportunities for their children. The far right opposes multiculturalism. They believe that cultural diversity weakens national unity. They believe it threatens national unity and dilutes national identity. This perspective often ignores the benefits of cultural exchange and diversity. They promote assimilation, demanding that immigrants fully embrace the dominant culture. This expectation can be unrealistic and unfair. They often view any expression of cultural difference as a threat. This intolerance can lead to social tension and conflict. The far-right's rhetoric on immigration is divisive and harmful. It creates an us versus them mentality that undermines social cohesion. It fuels prejudice, discrimination, and xenophobia. This can result in real-world violence and discrimination against immigrants. It creates a hostile environment for immigrants and undermines social cohesion. Immigrants may feel unwelcome and unsafe in their new communities. It is essential to challenge these narratives with facts, reason, and compassion. By promoting understanding and empathy, we can build more inclusive and harmonious societies. Section 5. Economic anxiety, exploiting uncertainty for political gain. Economic anxiety is another factor driving support for the far right. In times of economic uncertainty, people often seek out leaders who promise quick and decisive action. They exploit people's fears about their livelihoods and futures. By tapping into these anxieties, far-right leaders can galvanize support and create a sense of urgency around their political agendas. They offer simplistic solutions that resonate with those who feel left behind by globalization and economic change. These solutions often ignore the complexities of the issues at hand, but they provide a sense of hope and direction for those who feel lost. The 2008 financial crisis and subsequent austerity measures created fertile ground for far-right populism. The economic downturn led to widespread disillusionment with traditional political parties and institutions. Many people experienced job losses, wage stagnation, and a decline in living standards. This economic hardship made them more receptive to the far-right's message of change and renewal. The far-right blamed these hardships on immigrants, globalization, and corrupt elites. By identifying clear enemies, they create a narrative that explains the economic difficulties people are facing. They often scapegoat immigrants, accusing them of taking jobs and driving down wages. This rhetoric can be very effective in rallying support, even though it oversimplifies the true causes of economic problems. They promote protectionist economic policies, arguing that they will bring back jobs and protect national industries. These policies appeal to those who feel that their economic security has been undermined by global competition. They appeal to a sense of economic nationalism, promising to put their citizens first. This message resonates with those who feel that their national identity and economic well-being are under threat. While economic anxiety is understandable, the far-right's solutions are often unrealistic and harmful. Their policies can lead to economic isolation and further instability. Their policies would likely exacerbate economic problems and lead to greater inequality. Instead of solving the issues, they could make them worse by creating divisions and reducing economic opportunities. Their scapegoating of vulnerable groups is unjust and counterproductive. It creates social tension and distracts from the real issues that need to be addressed. Addressing economic anxiety requires comprehensive solutions that address the root causes of inequality and provide opportunities for all. This means looking beyond simplistic answers and focusing on long-term strategies. This includes investing in education, infrastructure, and social safety nets. By building a strong foundation, we can create a more resilient and inclusive economy. It also means promoting fair trade policies and ensuring that the benefits of globalization are shared more equitably. By working together, we can create a future where everyone has the opportunity to thrive.